Good morning. I've been looking forward to today's talk since yesterday. Here's the title: The Battle of the Lesser Gods. Today's title came to me yesterday in anticipation of the meeting I was to attend last night in the Awakening Circle of the Spiritual Enlightenment Group. We discussed whose God will win. It was an amazing discussion as 18 people from various backgrounds had the opportunity to share his or her experience of the divine. This morning I will share my own perceptions of what was discussed and share a few of the stories I heard last night. To me, this is one of the most important topics that the entire world needs to grasp. Failure to do so will result in more of what we have experienced as a human culture for generations going back into antiquity. It's time to wake up. The gods we have made in our image are lesser gods, and the battle is born of ignorance and misunderstanding. Can we finally learn to love one another? Actually, that last question is a very key question, much more important than whose God will win. But I didn't choose the title, Whose God Will Win. That was chosen by the moderator of the group last night, who shared his own story of how, as a teenager, he felt like he wanted to go into the ministry. But he became disillusioned, and for a couple of decades at least, he was an atheist. He totally lost any interest in God or the divine or religion or anything else. It was totally on a back burner, and he was pursuing other avocations. But something happened, and he kept having these crazy experiences till finally he realized that God was trying to get his attention. And with tears in his eyes, he realized that there was a God after all. And the disillusionment had more to do with religion than with God. I added that. He didn't say that. But it was implied in what he shared. One of the ladies shared how similar story, how she felt like she wanted to be a nun when she was young. But I don't remember what she said happened that got her off that course. It wasn't the disillusionment. She didn't become an atheist. She was still a practicing devout Catholic, just not pursuing the nunnery. And 4 times, everywhere she went, she was running into the book by Deepak Chopra, whom she had no idea who he was, The 7 Spiritual Laws. Even in different states, she was running into that book. And finally, it fell and hit her in the toe. I mean, talk about trying to get your attention. It landed on her foot. And she said, well, I guess I'm supposed to read this. I keep coming across it. And when she read the book, she said, oh my God, it's free. I don't have to do all this religious stuff. It's not about that. And she had her spiritual awakening, realizing that there was a difference between a relationship with God and a religious understanding of God. And she said, as I discovered this, I felt like I was flying. And one of the gentlemen piped up, yeah, the flying nun. And I said, no, Mike, she got out of the habit. and laughter broke out in the room, especially with one person triggering it. Couldn't stop laughing for a good while. And the third story I'm going to share is of a lady that did not grow up in any religion. She said at the most she's read 2 pages of the Bible in her entire life. And she's only gone to church when she had a crush on some guy that was in church or thought somebody was cute. And she said what she's been experimenting with lately is praying when all of her chakras are open. And she says, that's right after I orgasm. and so she's going to be writing a chapter in her book on my suggestion. How did I word it? Orgasmic prayer. The secrets of orgasmic prayer. And she says, well, I am writing a book, because I said, Spirit's telling me that you're supposed to write a book on the secrets of orgasmic prayer. She says, I am writing a book, and I'll include a chapter with that title. I don't know if she will or not. But in any case, there were some humorous points in the discussion last night. But overall, it was a fairly serious discussion, as we realized that what we as humans have done is we have created gods in our image. Not the other way around, because we forgot who we were and we didn't see our own image. That God created us in God's image. Male and female created he them, because God is masculine and feminine, God and goddess. God created us in his image, but we forgot who we were. My little granddaughter, when she was 3 years old, still remembered her connection to life when she turned to her mom and said, my daughter, and said, Mommy, I remember when I was big and you were little, I was the mommy then. Ah, the soul's journey, changing roles. We've all played a lot of roles on the journey of our soul, but each time we come back, most of us forget our connection. We only maybe remember it when we're pre-verbal or early verbal, as in the case of my 3-year-old granddaughter, who 6 months later had forgotten she ever said that, forgotten that she knew that. It was totally erased. We, as humans, process out the spiritual connection, the spiritual reality to what we call God. And then we go about going through life, going through the pains and the agonies of our own life experience, having become prodigal children, as it were, in the far country where we forgot that we were sons and daughters of the Creator of all heaven and all earth and everything that exists, in whom there is no lack, in whom we all live and move and have our being, but we forgot. We are prodigal sons and daughters of the Creator. And having experienced the alienation and the pain of our own creation of separation, our own illusion and delusion and misunderstanding and distortion of what life is all about, which we were graciously allowed to experience because it was our choice. What if I wasn't connected to God? What if I wasn't aware that I am eternal? What if? What would life be like if I lived with limitations instead of unlimitedness? And so we went on this human journey. Spiritual beings having human experiences, one after another, after another, after another, and they were painful. Many of them were very painful. Not many of them were the orgasmic type where we say, oh God, oh God, oh God! Not many of them were there. They were mostly painful. And we began to look at the world through our wounded inner child, our wounded innocence. And we began to think it was a battle between good and evil, between what felt good and what didn't feel good, between light and dark, between the masculine and the feminine, the god and the goddess. But these were lesser gods that we'd created in our own image, our own wounded child image, seeing through eyes that were not seeing clearly, only seeing the distortions caused by our pain, caused by the result of our journey into physicality, in which we could think we were separate, and it appeared to be true, not realizing that the space between us connects us all, and that that space is pregnant with possibility and unlimited in its resources. The space that connects us all. Could that be God? Could that be the womb of creation? The goddess? I'm just asking questions. Can we finally learn to love one another and get over the religious bullshit of trying to determine which God, whose God is the strongest God? My God is better than your God. My God is stronger than your God. It's nonsense. It's a child's game. Actually, it's a child's game, but not an early child's game. It's one that develops later on as we think in terms of mine and my. Well, actually, that is pretty young when we do that. But it's time to grow up. It's time to let go of these things if we are to actually create peace on earth and prosperity for everyone. It's time to let go of whether Allah or Jehovah or Yahweh or Krishna or Christ or Buddha. I got an email yesterday. It said, if you want to know something about, I'm not quoting it right, maybe I should just see if I can find it on my Facebook page really quickly. Refresh. Oh God, do I see it? Where is it here? Where is it? I'm not instantly spotting it, so anyway. Something to the effect of, you can't get to know God or Christ from a priest or a minister. I think it said priest, but or a minister. You don't learn about God from a priest. If you want to be if you want to know Christ, become Christ. Don't become a Christian. If you want to know the Buddha, become the Buddha. Don't become a Buddhist. If you want to know Krishna, become Krishna. Don't become a Hindu. And we could take this all along the way, because God has no grandkids. We're all God's direct children. We're all children of the one God who created everything and set the whole journey of creation in place so that we could experience whatever it was we chose. And God is everywhere, in everything, in everyone, in all of the religions. Our forefathers that founded the United States were very wise in what they gave us of the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights, on how governments are supposed to operate. Congress or government shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. That means showing bias towards a particular religion. But it went on, nor prohibit the free exercise thereof. Our religions are but paths that ultimately point the way to the kingdom of heaven that's in each of us, to the divine that each of us are already and always have been, even when we forgot. And we get to know the unconditional love of God, who gives us total freedom to even enslave ourselves, if that's what we choose, and we have chosen that. We are not victims. We are co-creators. And what we have co-created together up until now is the experience of alienation, the experience of separation, the experience of diminishing ourselves and God, creating God in our own diminished image of what reality is perceived to be. And sometimes it's a very jaded reality. I encourage you to go where all of the mystics and saints throughout the ages have pointed. It's within you. It's within you. As Jesus prayed in the garden, Father, as I am one in you, and you are one in me, so let all of the world know that you are in them, that we are in them, and they are in us. And the kingdom of heaven is within you and me. The battle of the lesser gods can end, and we can bring peace and prosperity to earth as we learn to love one another, as we show compassion for the paths, the various paths that we have chosen and created to find our way home. And it's not about who died for who, because whoever died for anyone else did it for everyone else. And we're all in Christ, and we're all Buddhas, and we're all Krishnas, and we're all in all, because that is the true definition of the Creator. All and in all. I leave you with these thoughts from the law of one, the revelation that we are all together in the one that made us, regardless of the various paths we have walked to our own awakening. Namaste. Thank you.